morning, I'm Melanie Ralph in Hong Kong and welcome to ViuTV News. Coming up on tonight's show, mainland authorities have reportedly refused to give back Lu's personal properties to his wife Lucia, who is fighting on to get them. Chinese authorities have arrested one man on suspicion of arson after at least 22 people killed in an apartment fire in Jiangsu province. And the latest twist and turn in the Trump travel ban saga. The US Supreme Court gives Hawaii until Tuesday to keep its challenge alive. Now, we begin tonight with the latest on the death of Chinese dissident Liu Xiaobo. Mainland authorities have reportedly refused to give back Liu's personal properties to his wife, Lucia. That's according to the Information Center for Human Rights and Democracy, which also said the widow has the rights to take back Liu's literary manuscripts and she's fighting on to get them. Meantime, the state-run newspaper Global Times is slamming what it calls overseas forces for politicizing Beijing's efforts to treat Liu's terminal liver cancer. What's more, one of his closest friends claims she was barred from attending the funeral.
I just want to be closer to him and to see him, touch him even if it's possible, and to give Liu Xia a hug. That's all. You know. And it's not only my own willingness, wish. It's also many other his friends, Liu Xia's friends, wish. And how shameful, they said, all Liu Xiaobo and Liu Xia's friends were there. How disgusting.
To local news now, and at least one pan-Democrat is going to appeal against a High Court decision to strip him of his seat. League of Social Democrats Leung Kwok-heung and 3 others were disqualified from their posts on Friday for failing to take their oaths properly. Leung, also known as Long Hair, is determined to fight on, but admits he has concerns.
I'd have to pay $3 to $4 million if I lose the lawsuit and couldn't get any legal aid. If I can't pay the money, I'd be broke. Then I wouldn't be able to join the by-elections. So this is a really difficult situation.
Meantime, the 4 disqualified lawmakers may have to repay LegCo around $11 million in salary and allowances. Now, the Legislative Council Commission will discuss the arrangement next month. Last November, pro-independence activists Sixtus Leung and Yao Wai-ching were asked to pay back all their salaries and expenses after being disqualified for their insincere oaths. But Democratic Party's Helena Wong says it's unfair to do the same thing to the 4 because they did fulfil their roles as lawmakers for nearly a year. Meanwhile, pro-establishment lawmaker Paul Say suggests the Commission to seek advice from the judiciary to avoid unnecessary disputes. The government is urging lawmakers to pass a $3.6 billion education funding request so private university students can be subsidised and more jobs can be created for teachers. Chaos erupted during yesterday's Finance Committee meeting when 4 pan-Democrats who were unseated by a court the day before tried to barge into the meeting room. Education Secretary Kevin Yeung says he's worried the proposal can't be passed because there's only one more scheduled meeting before LegCo's summer recess. He hopes lawmakers can prioritise projects that affect people's lives.
If the Finance Committee did not approve it before the end of the legislative session, then we are not sure whether the approval will be given in the next legislative session. We could not guarantee that the allowance will be given by the Finance Committee in the next session.
Now to a developing story on the mainland, where authorities arrested one man on suspicion of arson after at least 22 people died in a fire at an apartment block. The fire broke out in the city of Changshu in Jiangsu province at about 4:30 this morning, when most of the residents in the 2-storey building were fast asleep. Many couldn't escape. 3 people were also injured in the inferno. Preliminary investigations suggest a man had set the block on fire with gasoline and the bedrooms were all locked at the time. The building is said to have housed more than 20 staff of a restaurant nearby. Elsewhere, Venezuelan expatriates began voting today in hundreds of polling stations worldwide. More than 80 countries are involved in the non-binding plebiscite that aims to challenge President Nicolas Maduro and his plans to rewrite the constitution. Now, this comes as Pope Francis today said he's praying for Venezuela. Francis has previously expressed his concern over the situation in Venezuela and is renewing his prayer for the beloved country. There are fresh doubts about the future of a US-Australia refugee deal after officials abruptly stopped interviewing detainees at the Nauru detention centre. A refugee there has told Reuters that officers left the island on Friday, 2 weeks before they were supposed to. A day earlier, Washington announced it had reached its annual refugee intake cap. Australia insists the deal is still very much taking place, but an indefinite postponement could have major repercussions for its promise to shut down a second detention centre on Manus Island. In a legal tit-for-tat, the state of Hawaii has till Tuesday to fight back against Donald Trump's travel ban. One of its federal court judges ordered the restrictions to be relaxed, but as expected, the federal government is challenging that. Evelina Leung reports.
The battle over Donald Trump's travel ban continues to unfold. The state of Hawaii made a ruling. The Trump administration appealed it. Now the Supreme Court is giving Hawaii till Tuesday to make its next move. A federal court judge in Honolulu decided to expand the meaning of family, allowing grandparents, aunts, uncles, and elder relatives to skirt the travel ban policy. It stops the administration from blocking refugees who have a commitment from a resettlement agency in the U.S. But in its appeal, the Justice Department argues the Hawaiian judge took the definition too far, allowing virtually any family member to stake their claim. Under Trump's law, travelers from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen are banned from entering the country for 90 days, and refugees for 120 days. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear oral arguments in the fall over whether the ban violates the U.S. Constitution.
Staying stateside, the US Senate will delay debate of the Republican health care bill while Senator John McCain recovers from surgery. McCain is in Arizona, where he's had a blood clot removed, but his absence is casting doubt on whether the GOP has numbers to pass the legislation to repeal and replace Obamacare. The Republicans control the chamber 52-48 and needs 50 yes votes for it to pass. But two of its senators have already declared they're voting no. Still, President Trump seems to think it's virtually a done deal.
I am pleased to report that we are very, very close to ending this healthcare nightmare. We are so close. The legislation working its way through Congress provides the choice and control people want, the affordability they need, and the quality they deserve in healthcare. It's a common sense approach that restores the sacred doctor-patient relationship. And you're going to finally have great health care at a lower price.
Coming up next, the latest from the world of business. Well, starting off closer to home, and Hong Kong-listed Sunac will likely be under the close watch of investors as we start the trading week here. Its shares saw a dramatic rise last week. Reports suggest the stock was lifted by buyers from the mainland, investors ignoring warning signs that the company could become one of China's most indebted developers after its planned deal to buy Dalian Wanda's tourism projects. Toyota is taking strides to maintain its UK presence after assurances over what will happen post-Brexit. As Lucy Fielder reports, the British government helped secure a £240 million investment in the carmaker's English plant.
The British government helped secure a major Toyota investment in a UK plant with a letter reassuring the Japanese car maker over post-Brexit trading arrangements, sources have told Reuters. Westminster's, quote, warm words for Toyota likely to rekindle concerns about secretive Brexit deals. When it emerged that Nissan had received a similar letter last year, it provoked widespread unease. And rival car makers who'd had no reassuring words whispered in their ears were pretty unhappy. Reuters learned that the letter discussed electric vehicles, commitment to further training and ensuring UK car industry competitiveness. Toyota declining to comment, while the business ministry refused to release the letter. Car makers want promises of free and unfettered trade after Britain leaves the EU, scheduled for 2019. Many are holding back on investment in their UK plants while the future is so uncertain, and are using that as leverage to pressure the government.
Looking to the US now, in a busy week ahead, housing will be in focus with concerns investors have overbought. The data just doesn't seem to match up with the sector's biggest rally in 5 years. S&P 1500 home building index has surged 32% this year and hit a decade high earlier this week. By contrast, the wider S&P Composite 1500 index has gained less than 9%. Industry optimists are pinning their bets on strong US job creation, low interest rates, tight housing supply, robust earning estimates and a lack of recessionary red flags. But others warn the stocks may have run too far. Now, just as many economies around the world look into advance in the artificial intelligence space, Tesla's founder Elon Musk issued a warning over its advancements. Speaking at a meeting with the National Governors Association in Rhode Island, Musk said that artificial intelligence needs to be regulated proactively.
On the artificial intelligence front, I have exposure to the very most cutting-edge AI, and I think people should be really concerned about it. I keep sounding the alarm bell, but until people see like robots going down the street killing people, like they don't know how to react, because it seems so ethereal. I think we should be really concerned about AI.
Interesting stuff. Well, it's time for a break now, but when we return, Turkey 1 year on from a failed attempt to overthrow the government, a look at how President Erdogan has rallied enormous support, bolstering his position of power.
Europe's top teams in action. International Champions Cup.